July, August, September period will be really interesting for us, not only with the conclusion of the final annulment hearing in Washington, but I think the decision coming out and then the 45 days in which Tanzania has to pay in full. I think that we're all looking forward to that.
Welcome to those tuning in to the Assay TV, where today we're at 121's Mining Investment Event London, and I'm delighted to be joined by Bronwyn Barnes, the Executive Chairman of Indiana Resources. Welcome, Bronwyn.
Thanks for having me.
Right, so just as a little recap to our viewers, can you tell us a bit about the company and the expertise you have on board?
Okay, so company obviously ASX listed, market cap circa $50 million Aussie, and we have around 600 million shares on issue. And we've really got two focus areas of work. One is obviously the ongoing dispute with the government of Tanzania, which we can certainly talk about. And the second part is our exploration projects in South Australia.
Excellent. So let's get into that. You've just said the ongoing dispute, which I'm sure our viewers would love to know about, which obviously has worked in the favour of Indiana.
Correct.
Can you go into what's been going on there?
Sure. Look, we are at the end of the process, essentially. So this has been a 6-year dispute that we've had with the government of Tanzania over the illegal expropriation of the Ntaka Hill Nickel Project in 2018. So that was Indiana's core project in Tanzania, a very high-grade nickel sulphide project that was expropriated by the government of Tanzania through a change of legislation and expropriation of the licence. So look, we've been pursuing a dispute process through ICSID, so the International Centre for Settlement of Investment Disputes, which is a division of the World Bank. And we had the final hearing in January of 2023, with a decision handed down by the World Bank in July 2023, awarding Indiana $109 million US plus costs for the illegal expropriation. So since that time, Tanzania has sought to challenge the award through what's called an annulment process. So because this is a dispute and arbitration process, this is not a legal case, there is no appeal. But Tanzania has certainly sought to challenge some of the decisions that were made by the ICSID panel. And the ad hoc committee that's hearing that challenge process has struck out the majority of Tanzania's claims. So there's only one claim left. One reason that Tanzania is seeking annulment. The hearing is on July 26th of this year. It will be a one-day hearing via Zoom, and we expect the decision very shortly after that. And of course, Tanzania has given a binding commitment to the World Bank that if the ICSID tribunal rules against their request for annulment, that they will pay the full amount to Indiana within 45 days. So
it's fair to say you will be fairly well funded throughout 2024 and 2025.
I think 2024 is looking remarkably positive for Indiana.
I would agree there. Let's look at your exploration activities.
Sure.
Now we've covered that. Let's look at Minos 3 and Gold Project. What's happening there?
Great. So look, in South Australia, Indiana has an extensive ground position. We've got 5,700 square kilometres of ground in the Central Gawler Craton. We've been exploring there for about 4 years. And we've come up with a very interesting gold project and also a rare earth project that sits within the Lake Labyrinth shear zone. So over the past sort of couple of years, we have been exploring the Lake Labyrinth shear zone that's focused around Minos, and Minos is where we've found this very high-grade rare earth deposit. And what is actually happening is the rare earth deposit is sitting on top of the gold deposit. So we were originally exploring for gold, which is more at depth, and the Minos rare earth project sits on top of the gold. So look, that's been quite a really exciting exploration period of activity for the company. And we will be back in the field drilling at the beginning of June.
Excellent. It's quite a unique mineralisation that is, isn't it? On top of gold. Like you quite literally struck gold there.
Yeah, it's one of the sort of rarest projects that we've seen in terms of that combined gold and rare earth mineralisation, but it's also quite separate, which is also quite interesting. So look, we are looking forward to going back into the field in June with our drill program, and that will be for both gold and rare earths.
And how do you generally find operating in Australia? You said you've been there for the past 4 years. How do you find that?
Look, I think after our experience in Tanzania, operating back in Australia is a very welcome opportunity for our shareholders. I think it's fair to say that their patience for investing in Africa is now finished. So look, we really like working in South Australia. It's a very straightforward, obviously, jurisdiction in terms of land access, regulatory approvals, and we've had significant support from the South Australian Government for our exploration efforts in the Gawler Craton. And we were the recipient of a co-funded drill program for one of our projects in the Gawler Craton last year as well. So yes, it's a really solid jurisdiction in which to work.
Excellent. And we've mentioned the financing, but what do you plan on actually allocating that to? I mean, you're very well financed now. What are you going to put that
Well, I've
towards?
got to get the money in the bank first.
Yeah.
So look, that will be my final challenge for 2024 is finishing up the arbitration with Tanzania and getting the cash. Look, we've always been very clear that we would leave circa 15 million Aussie dollars in the bank account for Indiana to fund exploration in South Australia, and the majority of the remaining funds will be returned to shareholders. The compensation that was awarded by the World Bank was for the loss of our sunk costs. Yeah. So, the Ntaka Hill Nickel Project had a significant investment over many years. It was more than $60 million had been spent on exploration. So really what we're getting back is our sunk costs in Tanzania that found that asset. So look, it's only appropriate that money should be awarded back to shareholders who made the original investment. And then, we'll have enough cash at bank to be able to continue to explore in South Australia quite comfortably.
Excellent. And just as a bit of a wrap up for our interview, for our investors, what are the major milestones they should be looking out for in the coming months?
Look, definitely, I think the July, August, September period will be really interesting for us, not only with the conclusion of the final annulment hearing in Washington, but I think, the decision coming out and then the 45 days in which Tanzania has to pay in full. I think that we're all looking forward to that. But of course, we've got drilling starting in June, which means we'll have both gold and rare earth assay results coming out in that June, July, August quarter. And then we also have some beneficiation and network test results that are still to come through from our rare earth project. So, I mean, it's great to get really high grade rare earth results, but it's another thing to prove that material can be processed satisfactorily and cost effectively. And initial indications are very promising. So we're really looking forward to that beneficiation test work to come out.
Well, excellent. Well, it certainly sounds like an exciting time for Indiana.
Busy.
Well, very busy.
Yeah.
And we thank you for spending some time with us today.
Great. Thanks very much.
Hope you enjoyed the event.
Thank you.